Hello. The reason I'm here today to ask a question is through your teachings and a lot of other things, especially Seth, I've come to believe in many worlds interpretation, at least as a possibility. It's a quantum physics type of thing.
There are as many worlds as there are perceivers of them.
Okay.
When we say to you that you specifically were born into this time and space reality, it's because this is where you'd flowed your energy. And in fact, you could not have asked a better question at a better time than after the conversation that we just had, because the satisfaction that you have, the potential for satisfaction in this life of this manifestation is huge because of all of the energy that you flowed about this. And you in this physical body are the manifestation of all of that energy. So you can contemplate other places and other spaces and other times and all of that stuff, but your satisfaction factor is about here and now. And of course your logic tells you this can't be the only place where manifestation is happening, and that's accurate, but it's the only place where the manifestation that is important to you is happening.
Okay.
You get that? And do you realize you wouldn't have gotten that if we hadn't been where we just were before you got that? So that whole thing that we just did, you thought it was for you, and it was for you. And you.
One of the reasons that brings me up here is that seemingly through some other psychic mediums, empaths, I've had what I think to be communication with another me from another timeline universe from maybe that split off what I believe to be 14 years ago. Is he who I think he is, or am I just mistaken about all this?
Well, here's the thing. When we explain to you that what you've been living has caused you to create a vibrational reality, we're asking a lot for you to accept that there's a vibrational version of you that you are wanting to line up with. So when you consider, as Seth taught, that every thought that you think still exists, every thought that has ever been thought still exists, and thoughts, because of law of attraction, gather together in rivers and streams and so forth, then of course there are all kinds of thought forms, there are all kinds of congealing of thoughts that you may have vibrational access to. But if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would acknowledge this inner being, you can call it whatever you want, and its expansiveness as a result of all that you've lived, and especially what you are living now. And we would focus upon the coming into alignment with that. So your question is, did I just make that up? Yeah, you did. But that's what we teach here. You create your own reality. You create your own reality. Those words are Jane Roberts' words. Those words are Seth's words. You create your own reality. Seth also said, your point of power is in the present. And what Seth was trying to explain about that is that here and now is this junction where you have the potential of meeting who you are or not. That your life experience has caused the expansion of who you are. And now, and only now, is where you have the power to join with that. So this might be helpful to you. Your inner being, that larger part of you, never looks back, ever, 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 ever. So there's nothing about your inner being that's looking back to another time of your time or any other time, because all of the power is right here and now. All that you've lived, even before you came into this physical body, and so much since you've been in this physical body, has created a vibrational expectation and version that you have the ability to fully realize, that your inner being has already realized in the fullness of the vibrational form of it. So as you focus in a way that brings you together in that knowing, then you will begin to receive the thoughts and the ideas that will cause the realization within you of all of that. Helpful?
Yeah. I feel like my questions are too physical based, I guess.
What do you mean?
Like, because I also want to ask if it's true that there are, many, many other physical versions of me in these other realities, are there also other non-physical versions of me that correspond with
But you
those?
see,
Or is there only one? Yeah, see.
it's all right. Your logic tells you that it's an expansive universe, but the way that we know that your greatest satisfaction, since you're focused here and now, is going to come about is if you focus. You see, you can't become that and focus there.
But I'm very curious about that whole possibility, like investigating that, I guess.
Well, for the most part, when someone says to us, I want to investigate something other than my own life, it's because there's not a lot of satisfaction going on in the life that you are living. When someone says, I have a curiosity question, we often want them to have an intense question, not a curiosity question. We want it to be a specific question about something that's specifically about them, you see. And so, of course, it is logical that this is not the only time and space reality. Of course, it is logical, but you just can't focus in those other time and space. If you knew how much you wanted to be in these bodies, you would not all the time be trying to get out of them. The thing that we most want you to hear, and we think that your questions stem from this basic human premise. So we're going to speak it here so that you can really get what we're talking about. So many of you, in your feelings of inadequacy and unworthiness, and you only feel that way because you haven't figured out how to be in alignment with that energy that is loving you all the time. But there are a lot of people that are feeling empty and unworthy, and then they conjure this notion that there is a source out there that is powerful, that is all powerful, and I am not, and that I will live my life. It's sort of the common version in so much conversation that humans have had over time. I will live my life, and then I will have my death experience, and then I will be rewarded or punished. I'll be evaluated on how well I kept the rules, the many changing, ever-changing, great variety of rules, and I won't know until I croak, and then it'll be too late. That's sort of the way most humans are approaching their relationship with non-physical. They also believe that non-physical is greater than they are and separate from them. And sometimes they believe that that non-physical is aware of them. But we would like to explain to you how you and this non-physical energy dovetail. We would like you to understand that that non-physical energy that has been evolving as you are evolving like you are evolving, this non-physical energy is forward-looking with you. Think about creation. If being in this physical body, if being manifested here in this physical time and place is the leading edge, as we say that it is, and it is, then isn't it logical that all that is non-physical is aware of what's going on here? And this is the thing that we wish to impart to you in a way that you will always remember it. Non-physical energy is flowing forward here. It's not working the other way. So yes, non-physical energy is flowing forward in lots of environments, in lots of dimensions. Yes, of course it is. But all you can do from this physical body is be the focused being that you are and allow the non-physical energy that is available to you, that preceded you, and that is the existence of you to flow through you here and now in this time and space. And we promise you the satisfaction factor of recognizing that you are manifested spirit, but that spirit didn't just manifest you and then dump you off and say good luck. Now we're off to create other worlds. Now we're off creating other worlds, so you just bang around and figure it out, and hopefully you'll get it right. You probably won't. That's the way humans tell the story. It isn't like that at all. This source energy who flowed to you and through you still is, so much so that when you get off in thought from what source knows about you and this moment in time, you feel the discord in the form of negative emotion. And when you line up with what source knows about you, so when we say to you, your source never looks back 14 years or 30 years. Your source never looks back. Your source never longs for you to have done something different in a different time, because you can't stand in a different time. There's only now. And as you stand in this now, with all that is flowing to you and through you, There is going to be a time that you're not only going to say, okay, that's enough. You're going to say, oh, this is everything. This is where spirit manifests into form. This is what I'm all about. You know, sometimes when you feel that exhilaration of energy flowing through you, when a really good idea occurs to you, that's your source feeling that idea and feeling the harmony of you being in that same place at that same time. That receptive mode, that receiving mode that we're talking about. When you're tuned into the frequency of who you really are and focused in this time-space reality, there is not a greater satisfaction to be had. So we are not meaning to discourage you from any interest that you hold, because really an exploration, as far as you can find it, of other galaxies, of the vastness of the universe, of the bigness of your soul, of the bigness of your inner being, it will always and only lead you back to feeling better about who you are right here and now. You see, there is nothing that is off limits. We're not trying to discourage that. We just want you to focus where your inner being is focused. And we began here today by saying to you that when you hold thoughts that are differing from the thoughts that your inner being holds, you create a gap. So when you're looking out into other galaxies and trying to imagine what it's like being somebody else on some other planet, even some planet that you can't see, and you feel sort of empty or confused about it, is because your inner being isn't looking out there to find you. Your inner being's looking here to find you and has found you. And when you don't look where your inner being's looking, you don't feel so good, you see. This is the most leading edge conversation we've ever had about these weird topics that you want to talk about. We think this is a really good time for a segment of refreshment.
Thank you.